All right, welcome back everybody. Thank you for watching another video. Just came through the Grand Tetons. Now I'm at Yellowstone National Park and I'm out here with Project M from 4-Wheel Campers. Now, if you haven't heard of a pop-up camper, let's have a closer look at this guy here, and maybe at the ending of the video, you might want to purchase one of these guys for your next camping or cross-country trip. Now, the Project M is a topper camper, meaning that it doesn't have a floor, so it's quite different than the other two models that 4-Wheel Campers offers. They have a slide-in and a flap-it, but this has no flooring, which means that you have complete control over the living space on the inside. Now, before going inside, I'll give you guys a walk around on the outside and then we'll jump inside. Let's begin with the pop-up camper. Right now it's down because, well, I'm not in it. When you go to sleep, it goes up. This is where your bed is at right here. And it opens up to king, as we're going to see in a little bit. You just undo these latches and I'll give you a close-up of those in a little bit. But the major advantage of this is when you're on the freeway, you're not wobbling around, you're not unstable like some of the class A's, B, and C RVs out there, or some trailers. So you're very stable. And when you're in national parks and they have very low branches hanging in, most of the time you can get through with these. So major advantages to the pop-up camper is lower center of gravity. Alright guys, I think that's probably a Class B RV. Look at the size of that thing. Look at the length. And that's an advantage, but for me, probably a disadvantage, because if there's no RV stall, then you can't find somewhere to park something like that. You have to have the stall to put it in, and there's not that many of them available, whereas a 4-wheel camper fits in a normal parking stall. Now, another disadvantage is taking tight turns in national parks. Really difficult. Also consider off-road capabilities. You just can't take that off-roading. And that's why I really like 4-wheel campers, because you maintain that versatility of your 4-wheel driving, and you can put all of the comforts in here as you can in there. Alright, so 4-wheel campers has 3 different models to choose from. The Project M is the least expensive because there's nothing in there. It's up to you to make this bed how you want to make it. And it's also a topper, meaning that you're going to maintain your tailgate, and all they're going to do is they're going to use these tabs right here to jack it up. They're going to slide the bed under it and they're going to drop it right on top of the bed. And this is a topper, so the topper is either clamped or bolted on to the rails of the truck. Now, the other two versions, the flatbed version, they remove the bed of the truck, they install a flatbed, and then the camper goes on top of that one. The other version, the slide-in version, they take out the tailgate and then the entire camper just slides in the back. Now, those are more expensive, but they do have a lot more amenities. But I think this is where the jam is at, Project M. Now, 4-wheel campers also has the ability to attach multiple accessories on the outside of the rig. They have different track systems that they use. So right now you got a couple of rotopacks out here, a shovel and an axe, but you could do snowboards, skis, surfboards, whatever. There's also a different track system on the top there. You see there's some racks up there. So multiple uses for different track systems up there. There's also on the roof 2 vents, which we're going to have a look at, and 130 watts of solar that we're going to see in a little bit. They also have these killer LED lights. So there's one on this side and one on that side. They are so incredibly bright at night. They probably fill up about 180 degrees right around your camp area. So very useful. Alright, so we're on the driver's side now, and this smaller window is an emergency hatch, or escape hatch if you will. Comes standard with the Project M. On the other side, we'll have a look at it, but it's a longer window, so you can install that or have it totally flat, or there's also a utility window that swings open and you can kind of reach in and grab what you need to. Let's have a look on the other side. Alright, there is a look at the longer window, and I'm telling you right now, on hot days, it feels really good to just slide that thing open and have the vents pull all that hot air out. But again, you can go with the utility window that opens up so you can reach in and grab your things, and that seems like a great idea, so you don't have to go up and down with that tailgate there, or you can just have it totally flat. Alright, let's get into how to pop up the top. First thing you got to do to open up the top is to take off these clamps. There's 3 on the passenger side, 3 on the driver's side, and it's as easy just coming up here, one finger it, and then pull it down. Now, if for some reason it gets stuck up there, or when you go to reclamp it, like it's too tall, all you got to do is just yank down on this thing, and then this will reach back over. Now, these clamps may start to spin off a little bit, so if you think you need to tighten it down more, just give it a couple of turns, get it back up there, and clamp it down. Alright, so I've got all 6 clamps undone, and what I'm showing you here
are the gas struts or hydraulic struts. I don't know what you want to call them, but there's two here and then two in the front that are going to help you lift up the top. So it's basically you get in and you push up. These hydraulic struts are going to help you lift. All right, before going inside, here is a quick size reference. I'm about 5'5", and I would say to use another size reference. If you golf and you have a men's driver, that's about 45 inches. That comes right about to the center of my chest. So as I'm moving around in there, if you're wondering how big something is or how far apart something is, use that as a size reference. Let's get inside. All right, to open up the hatch, all you got to do is undo those two latches there. Now, I've already done that, so it's just resting on the tailgate. So you just reach in, you undo those two latches, swing it up, undo the tailgate, and this is what the inside of Project M looks like. My backyard. Awesome. Anyway, time to push this thing on open. Let's push that top up. So here is the rear latch. All you're going to do is push on, not the latch area, but this thing right here is going to relieve some of the tension where the latch is in, and then you're just going to pull this back using this provided portion here. You don't want to push on this portion here. You want to use this here. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, there's your latch right here. Here's your push point. So I'm just going to push on this thing here. That's going to relieve some of that tension. Slide the latch back. And now this is going to sag, and now you're just going to kind of push up. There you go. All right, the last step in securing the rear is to take this strap, wrap it around this knob, and button it back out the top. And 100% of the time I've done this, the strap is hiding behind this section. So just give it a pull. The arms on the outside are stopping it from collapsing, so you can reach in there, pull that strap out, and then just push this shut. Now you can do your wrap move around the knob and button at the top. Just like that. Let's do the front. Okay, so now we're looking at the front. This is where the bed is at. And the first thing you're going to do is unbutton your push rod. And then you're going to get two pushes. Remember, you don't want to push on the roof. You want to push on the provided kind of push points. So this is basically your push rod. You're going to push with one hand that way and then push up with this hand. And it helps to start off with just a little bit of leverage in here. Get it going just a little bit. Lift open that flap. Let me show you what that looks like. All right, so here's my push rod. It's going to go this way, right? Going to push this way. Here's my push off point. Going to push it up this way. So this way and then this way. Going to raise that flap up just a little bit. Got it? Here comes a push up this way. Flawless. And there you go. You can see as compared to before, where it was just the aluminum framing like this, it pops up to that tall. All right, so now look at all the space that we have. Let me show you the difference between top down and top up. Okay, so once you have everything popped up and tucked away, you got to remember to take down these bungee cables. Otherwise, you will give yourself a clothesline. And it's also very important to remember that when you're going to break everything down, before you start breaking anything down, you have to reattach the two bungee cables because you can see how it's pulling in on both sides. If you break it down without having them pulling in, there's a chance that the soft side might go out that way instead of pulling in this way. So remember to reattach those two bungee cables before you start pulling down the top. And speaking of up top, there is one vent here with no fan, and this one does have a power fan, and it looks like this is one of their older Dometic fans. I think they switched over to the Max fans, which are way better. But if you're going to do something like this, I would suggest getting two power fans, one to push air, one to pull air, and set them as far apart as you can so you get good air circulation. But basically what happens is you get your variable speed here, That's going to be your push-pull button, and then this is a manual opener. I think some of the new Max fans have remote control, but whichever. Just remember, if you're going to get one of these, get 2 power fans. Alright guys, let me go over the layers that kind of make up the soft side of the pop-up here. So this is an optional layer. It's called their thermal pack. And I'm glad I had it because it got down to 32, 35 degrees at night and it was very comfortable. So that's the first layer. It's Velcroed from the top to the bottom. And that's the first layer. It's optional. Otherwise standard, you got a layer, privacy layer here. Then just a clear window here. Maybe it's windy and you still want to look outside. That's there. Then of course you can take this down and now you have your mesh to let wind in. Now on this point of letting wind or air in, it's really good to have, especially if you're running 2 vents. It really helps with air circulation. So this is a winner. Now also on the roof is 130 watts of solar panels by Renogy and is connected into this battery box here. And basically this is pretty similar to what Jackery and Bluetti and companies like that have. It's got a battery in here, a charge controller, and an inverter. That's how you got these 2 USB ports here, and the cigarette adapter. And I haven't had it drop, I don't know, below 80%. It's also hooked up to the car's alternator, so it's charging all of my electronics, this Dometic refrigerator, which is awesome, by the way. Look at that. Thing is great. And still, haven't had it drop below 80%. It's a good addition. Now, as a side note, if you didn't like this battery box, like maybe you think it's in the way, you can have it pre-wired for solar so that you can figure out how to wire your inverter and your charge controller all on your own on your batteries. And some of the other standard items you get are some L-track, and what you can use these for are holding things down, right, just like this. So here's where I have my camp shower, and basically the way that it's a ratcheting strap. And you push in and you can change them to how much space you need. And on the other side, a little bit more, you can see some L-track here. Here's where I have my water storage. These are Aqua bricks. I highly recommend these if you want to do at-home food or water storage. This has been great. It also has a spigot that comes with the set. So if you're looking for water storage to take on the road, get these. They're 3 gallons. They're lightweight. They're very easy to use. Love them. But what I wanted to show you was the fire extinguisher in the corner. And also standard with the Project M comes the smoke detector. And I almost forgot to mention my favorite accessory in cabin, because outside the LED lights are amazing, but they got 4 strip LED lights inside. So there's 2 in the rear, 1 here, 2 there, and then 2 over the bed, 3 and 4, and they're just touch activated. So to turn them on, you just give it a quick press like that, and then quick press to turn them off. And then if you want to adjust the brightness, quick press to turn on, and you just long hold, and it increases the intensity or decreases the longer that you hold it. Love these. All right, having a look at the passenger side window, very easy to operate. It's going to flip this latch open, and then from here, you can decide if you want the window to open and have the screen shut, or you can have the whole thing open and let all of nature in. So let me tell you about this window right here. Prior to starting this adventure, I thought to myself, well, I've driven vans and big trucks before, but never with a camper. So I started to ask myself, what's the visibility going to look like? How easy is it going to be to navigate out and inside and outside of parking stalls? And with the truck mirrors and this little window back here, along with a backup camera, no problem navigating. It was awesome. Well, alright, this is pretty much what it looks like when you shut it down for the night. Now, when you want to get out, you got these 2 gas struts or hydraulic arms, whatever you want to call them, on both sides. And you got these latches. You got to pull them both at the same time. And when you're ready, you just give it a push, and that will open. Now, I don't recommend just throwing the tailgate shut. I would get out and then lower it slowly, because those cables, you don't want to just have that. I mean, that's a heavy tailgate. Doing that over and over again is probably going to damage them. All right, let's take some quick measurements. Okay, so we know I'm 5'5", and I'm standing comfortably in here, and I was able to sit comfortably on both the refrigerator and on these ledges here. So let's see. Inches from the floor of the bed, about 81 inches, and this is a 6.5 foot bed. So from ceiling popped up down to the bottom of the bed, 81 inches. All right, so let's have a look at how wide these ledges are and what the usable space in between here is. So that's going to be about maybe 13 and a quarter. Yeah, 13 and a quarter. And that leaves you from ledge to ledge, right around about 46 inches. And then if we measure the ledge all the way to the ending here, about 67 inches here, but then it angles in a little bit, but this is the usable space. Well, I got these two things sitting on here, my aqua bricks, so really maybe usable 73 inches. All right, then lastly, what is the usable space from the bottom of this to the bed? And that's probably going to be around maybe 21 inches. 20.5 to 21 inches, depending on the bed liner, I guess, that you pick up. But there's a rubber mat in here, so there could be a little bit more, but not much. All right, so this is the pre-installed shelf that my aqua bricks are on here. And I just want to get under here and show you where it bolts onto the rails of the bed. So here's one bolt point, attachment point, and there's another one up there. All right, now we're going to measure the mattress length from side to side. And remember, I'm 5'5" and I can fit in there just fine. I didn't have to ever extend it to a king ever, because it can open up to the size of a king. So from coast to coast, just about 6 feet 72 inches. And then of course we're gonna go from front to back, and that's coming in at just about 4 feet 48 inches. And I should note that there is a little bit of a dip in the back. It's not flat all the way, but it can be very comfortable to kind of cozy up to. So from the front to the back here of the mattress, in its current configuration, 4 feet 48 inches. Let's open it up. All right, so the way this works is we're going to lift up the bed platform. By the way, that's made of aluminum as well. So we're just going to lift like this and then pull out. And then once it's down, it's going to slide on these rails all the way like this. Right? And then you got a stop here and then a stop here. Then you know you got your full length. All right, once you got it looking like this, we can pretty much just push this entire thing backwards. Quick note, make sure you have the smaller pieces on here as you pull it, because you don't want the smaller pieces to fly back there. But once we have this, we can just kind of give it a push as far as it can go. And then these individual pieces fit in sideways like this, but you can actually just use that to push all the way back, and then you slide that over. Second piece goes in like that. Looks like we're doing Tetris. Alright, that stuck in like that. Last piece. Alright, let's see what the measurements are. Alright, we already know from side to side it's going to be 6 feet, but let's see how far this is going to run out. Alright, so from the back to the front, like 81.5 inches. It's a lot of space. Let me show you the view. Alright, so what does that leave us here? So from the mattress to the ceiling, maybe about 29 inches. Now it's also important to remember that, yeah, it might be 29 inches from the mattress to the ceiling, but you got the push rod there, so you gotta watch yourself, because I have banged my head on like the sides before, like trying to get up, so be careful. Alright, so here is the view from the very back. So spacious. And to reverse the curse, you pretty much have to lift this platform up and then slide it backwards. You can't just lift it like this because it's already locked in. So you have to kind of come up from underneath and lift it up. It's pretty cool. You can see the aluminum structure here. So you just get up under here. Okay. Once you got it over that hump, push it back in. Let me show you the view from up there.
And on most nights, this is what it looks like. Still so spacious. Almost forgot two important measurements. Let's see how tall this is with the top down and then with the top up. Let's hook it on there. See if it'll stay. About 91 inches. You can tell I used to pick mangoes. Okay, with the top up. About 114, 113 inches. Now, after living in Project M for just about a week now, I do have some small tweaks I would make. Alright, the first thing I would maybe modify, not completely change, is the sizing of the holes in this mesh here, because I know there's some people out there that are really insect phobia, so it would be nice to have an option for smaller holes. Now, I didn't have any problems with bugs coming in, and I understand that bigger holes mean better airflow, but maybe there should be an option for people that are a little bit freaked out about bugs. Then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, I would go with two power fans, not just a vent and a power fan. Again, the goal is to have one fan pushing and the other one pulling, so you can have better airflow, and that's going to keep you cooler on those hot days. And then the other thing I would change on the roof are the solar panels. Right now it's wired for 130 watts of solar power. I think they've updated that to 200, but I want more than that. So I'd probably just get the pre-wired package and then get the specs on how much weight you can put on the roof and install my own solar. Another cool modification might be to move the emergency hatch/escape hatch and put it to where this pass-through window is here. Because if you dive out there, you're diving into danger. But if you could open this up and then slide open the window in the back of the truck, then you can escape whatever it is you're trying to escape. And then this battery box, it's kind of in the way. Like when I think about the flow of how I want to organize things, I feel like it's getting in the way. So I'll take this box and then move it to the front of the bed area here. That way you have the whole front portion or back portion of the bed to do your organizing. And on that subject, I would also remove these pre-installed shelves. I also kind of feel, just like the battery box, that they kind of interrupt the flow of how I would want to organize things. So how would I organize this 6.5 foot bed? Well, to start with, I'm lucky because I'm 5'5". I can actually build a false floor up just a little bit. So I would have a divider going right down the middle, and then I would score it off right here at both wheel wells, and then I would have separate compartments, making 3 compartments on this side, 3 on that side, and then they would be removable. So I would have access to those 6 compartments from the inside. Then really I think what I would do is remove both of the windows and then just build shelving from the bottom all the way up to the top so that you're maximizing the space on the inside. And then the other thing I would do is install an awning on either this side or the other side, because sometimes you're going to hit a campsite with absolutely no coverage. Having that awning there to pull out and keep you cool is a good thing. You know, I might just keep one window on one side, and that would be the utility window though, not this one. That way I could build my cabinetry in a way where I would have access to it on the inside and on the outside. So that way maybe if you're cooking, you don't have to go up and down on the tailgate. And if you needed some privacy for a shower, you can use the hatch here as a shower curtain surround. This is about 1 inch. I would suggest getting some clips, some spring clips or some clamps, and then you just let it up and you just clamp right around the sides. Let me show you what it looks like. Alright, so we go this way, Alright, so I've started my pack up process and I've noticed it's a little bit dusty in here. And the reason I'm mentioning this is I think with the other two models, the flatbed and the slide-in, those have floors. So I think they seal up a little bit better. So depending on where you go, you might get a little bit dusty in here. And there are things you can do to help mitigate that, but it's not too bad right now. Let me show you around. Okay, here's a good representation of what you could expect if you pick up a Project M. So this is where my aqua bricks were sitting. And you can see right in here is pretty clean. Then on the outsides is where the dust settled. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on the Project M? Well, I am 1,000,000,000% impressed with this topper. Coming up over the Grand Tetons, I got caught in a hailstorm. Rain was coming down. I think the pieces of hail were about the size of marbles, just raining down. It was incredible. Then I got to my campsite. There was a thunderstorm, 20-mile-an-hour winds, heavy rain, no damage, and no leaks. Second thing is, because it's incredibly lightweight, your vehicle is going to maintain its responsiveness on the road. I felt safe at all times. Finally, the thing I really like is you are in total control of this living space on the inside. Like when I sit in there, the amount of possibilities that race through my mind are just endless, and I think you're gonna think the same thing too. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed your up close and personal look at 4-Wheel Camper's Project M. Now if you're in the market for a camper and you don't think Project M is for you, don't worry, because 4-Wheel Campers has two other models available. They have their slide-in version and a flatbed version, so be sure to head on over to 4wheelcampers.com to check it out. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey. I'll catch you in the next video.